Am I the asshole? For telling my brother if he's going to be late, don't show up. I and my husband got married a week ago. Yay. I spent 2 years planning my wedding and everything was great except for my brother's tardiness with every event he came to. For context, my brother and I don't get along. Never have. I only invited him for my parents. Also, I was adopted, so he's not biologically related to me. He's always late, and in the past we've had to tell him an event was 2 hours earlier than it really was so he would be on time. He was late to my high school and college graduation and missed me walk both times. When I was sending invitations, I put an extra note in his that read as follows: I know Mom, Dad, and I would love for you to attend, but if you're going to be late, don't bother showing up. Your girlfriend and her daughter are welcome to attend with or without you. He called me for the first time in years and cussed me out for the note. I held my ground and said I would still appreciate him coming to the wedding, but I not allow to interrupt the ceremony by being late. He then called my parents and yelled at them as well. They said it was my wedding and they stood by my decision. He came to the wedding, but he walked in as I was walking down the aisle and walked past me to his seat. I was horrified and embarrassed and mad. I didn't know exactly what I was feeling in the moment, but it was a mixture of things. After the ceremony, my dad and my biological father, who I've become close with over the years since I met him, both spoke to my brother about how that was inappropriate and rude. My brother didn't care and asked where the bar was. He was forced to leave. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Why do you continue to allow him to be a part of your life when he's clearly not interested? I get some people are always late to things in life, but showing up late to your wedding, let alone while you were walking down the aisle, was intentional. Sometimes family doesn't deserve to be family. But he walked in as I was walking down the aisle and walked past me to his seat. He did that on purpose. The timing is too exact to be an accident. You said in another comment it's in your personality to care, which is fair, but you are also old enough to learn to set boundaries and stop letting people take advantage of your caring personality. You don't have to care about everyone just because it's your personality to care. Talk to a therapist and they can give you some tips on how to let certain people go and no longer be hurt by them. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Brother's behavior shows he doesn't give a shit. Why should you? He timed his entrance to purposely disrupt the ceremony and ruin your moment. It's good he was escorted out. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He's lucky AF he even made it to his seat after showing up late. If it had been my sibling, they wouldn't have. Not the asshole. Always remember your parents had him, but they chose you. That's pretty awesome. Not the asshole. This is why weddings should have security. Security would have stopped him from entering the church while the procession was going on. Security could have stopped him at all if that was your wish. I think he probably deliberately came in and hung around until you were walking just to mess with you. You know what you need to do. Just ignore him from now and do not invite him to anything any longer. Not the asshole. People who are always late are narcissistic assholes. They do not care about your time, they only care about themselves. Emo, you never should have invited him, knowing what he is like. I'm glad both dads stood up for you. Hugely inappropriate to walk in while the bride walks in. Glad he was kicked out. Not the asshole. Not are not sure why you feel like you are. Nothing in this post indicates you are or that anyone but your brother thought so. Not the asshole. You do realize he likely did that on purpose, I hope. I'd let this be the last straw and drop the rope if I was you. Not the asshole. You now have permission to never invite him to another event ever. If your parents tried to guilt you ever again, you remind them of your wedding. The only thing I can see to fault you for, since I understand inviting him to placate your parents, is in not recruiting a couple of burly friends to stand at the entrance and keep him out when he showed up late. Or perhaps the doors should have been locked before the procession began. It appears he has made a point of trampling over every event that focuses to some extent on you, so it should have been anticipated and dealt with more than just a note. By the way, were his girlfriend and child already in their seats, or did they enter with him? But he walked in as I was walking down the aisle and walked past me to his seat. That's contempt and was on purpose. Not the asshole. His constant tardiness is inexcusable. Not the asshole, and good for you for kicking him out. He walked by you as you were walking down the aisle? Hell no. Not but you're utter to yourself. You shouldn't have invited him. You said your parents wanted that. But you were never honest to them. If you told them, they would understand you and support you. He was late at your important things. Is he late to other things in his life, or did he this on purpose? You really need to be honest now, to your parents. Edit typo. My brother didn't care and asked where the bar was. The impact behind the power tackle I would have delivered if I couldn't restrain myself. Not the asshole. Don't invite him to anything ever again. His wife and kids can come though, but he'd be banned from any of my hosted family gatherings and meetings from that day forward. Not the asshole, but he shouldn't have been invited. To the wedding. To anything. Ever. How long is it going to take for everyone to learn this lesson? Not the asshole, but where the heck were your ushers or the wedding coordinators at the location? There should have been someone at the door or entrance stopping him from entering until everyone was getting settled again. Not the asshole. It is your wedding. Unless there's some major big emergency, I don't get why he can't find the time to show up on time. Not the asshole. People who are chronically late have no respect for others. And clearly your brother doesn't care at all about you. I know you were embarrassed, but he made himself look terrible in front of your guests, and that's the one thing people will remember about him. Honestly, I would simply go no contact with him. Don't invite him to anything, ever. Not the asshole. Chronic lateness is one thing, cutting off your walk down the aisle during your wedding is a whole other ball game. I've been late to weddings before and stood at the back of the church, or scooted in from one of the side doors, trying to be as inconspicuous as possible. It's not rocket science. I just wouldn't invite him anymore. You're not close, he causes you stress and grief, and he has no manners. Stop putting yourself out for him. Not the asshole, and this is another wedding situation where it's appropriate to throw wine at them. Do you really need to ask? Seriously? Not the asshole. If you had made this post 1.5 weeks ago, the advice would be to have some security so once it is go time they do not let anyone in. Your brother shows up late, well, too bad for him, he can go kick rocks. Not the asshole. He did that on purpose to make a point. Sounds like he got there on time and intentionally waited to cause the greatest disturbance out of spite. I would have kicked him out, too. Not the asshole, but if you'd not sent the note, he'd have probably been late but not interrupted the ceremony. Chronically late people do it for attention or to tell you they're more important than you are. That seems to be his problem. Don't give him the attention he craves. Nope, not the asshole. And I love that your family backed you up. Period. I get it, I used to be that tardy person. Then I met a buddy who made me realize what that was like from the other side. He'd typically run an hour late, and then things would come up. When I was his best man, I teased him mildly about that, with the punchline that he made me be early that day. Everyone laughed and we're still friends decades later. Not the asshole, and good he was made to leave. Shame you didn't have security, so anyone who was late couldn't be allowed in. He is awful and not worth your time. Congratulations on your marriage. Not the asshole. But why in nine hells do you keep inviting this asshat to events in your life? You should have told your parents what he said to you as kids, so they knew what a rotten human being he is. Don't waste your time on this imbecile and you'll find yourself a lot happier in the long run. Wishing you all the best in the future.